Help, it's too hot. Hello there everybody and welcome back. We are more than halfway through 2023 at this point, so I found it to be best to give you a list of my 15 favorite albums of the year thus far. Sure, you simply could have deciphered that from the video title itself, but then I wouldn't get the pleasure of talking and you the displeasure of listening. Anywho, this list is not ranked. It is in alphabetical order. That way you can't think that you're all slick and get the skinny on what you think my favorite album of 2023 is going to be. Mostly because it's more fun as a surprise when I actually drop that at the end of the year. But whatever, we're gonna cross that bridge when we get there. Hopefully you have heard of some of these projects before, and if you have, feel free to let me know which ones you love the most in the comment section. If by the time this video ends you have not heard of any of these before, go out, listen to a couple, and report back on what you liked. Alternatively, you can go to the comment section to let me know that I messed up. Maybe I missed something good, maybe I put on that one record that just should have never been on that list. Just go down in the comment section, start a discourse, and I will be sure to reply. Okay, without any further ado, let's get into the list. I won't be speaking too much on these first 4 records that I mentioned here, mainly because coincidentally they will actually all be featured on next week's episode of Where It's At. So at the risk of sounding redundant, let's keep everything simple here, and if you really want to know what to say about these albums, you can come back next week and watch that video. Kicking things off here is Lucky For You by Bully. This LP is fantastic from top to bottom, with catchy hooks that will burrow deep inside your brain, occasionally popping out at the worst possible times. The soundscape on here is wonderful, carving a nice niche without it sounding overdone. I think I'm finally becoming a Bully fan, and you can credit this album for the biggest reason for my change of heart. Another one that I'll be covering soon is Living Proof by Drain. I'm gonna get this out of the way up front. This is not my favorite Drain record, but I'll be damned if it's not fun as hell. There's so many great bangers on here that when you do get a stinker, you'll barely notice because there's another hit right around the corner. I do think it's a good step forward for Drain's sound, although I do prefer the production and mixing on California Cursed. But whatever, it made the top 15 list so far, so it must be good despite me talking shit. Another great recent standout is Girl with Fish by Feeble Little Horse. To keep things simple, this LP is bundles of fun. I just feel a great deal of joy whenever I put this bad boy on. It's a deeply eclectic and jumpy shoegaze release, which aren't usually the words that I would use to describe that genre. Girl with Fish is a very forward-thinking rock record that stays unpredictable yet consistent throughout all 11 tracks. Okay, I promise this is one of the last albums I'm going to be talking about from that unreleased Where It's At video, and that record, of course, would be The Wailer by Home Is Where. If you know me from watching this channel for a little while, then this should be no surprise to you because this album fucks. Don't be surprised if this ends up very high on my year-end list because this thing is freaking spectacular. Each track shines in its own different way, helping to jam-pack this album full of sounds that are literally bursting at the seams. I think it's safe to say that the world is a better place because The Wailer exists. Honestly, it's kind of unfair to all other music that dropped this year because I don't think they even stand a chance. Anyway, Home Is Where forever. The only hip-hop record on this list comes in the form of Scaring the Hoes Volume 1 by JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown. Boy howdy, this project is sick. Bringing their insane styles together sounds like an impossible task, but both artists nestle into their respective roles and get to work. In many ways, this LP is JPEG and Danny to their very core, as this could only come from their collective demented mind. Deeply rooted in industrial, but highly influenced by many other subgenres, the beats on here are varied and heavy. Simply put, Scaring the Hoes Volume 1 is all gas and no brakes from two guys who have never attempted to slow down, not even once. One of my absolute favorite synth punk records to come out in 2023 is Tear by Corinne. This is just a blast to listen to, as the duo creates a hell of a soundscape for you to enjoy. Fresher sounds and even fresher synths envelop this entire project from head to toe, begging you to put it on again and again. I know that I've tossed this on a bunch since its release because of its sheer listenability. If dance punk or synth punk or even darkwave are your things, then you should run, not walk to your nearest streaming service. You can pop this baby on. Why would I ever steer you wrong? I don't have that much to say in regards to this self-titled Liquid Mic record, other than the fact that it is host to some of the best modern emo that I've heard in years. I mean, each of these tracks could be individually hung up in the Louvre and studied for years on end. The songwriting chops are unmatched, roping you in with hook after hook of brilliantly simple emo goodness. Obviously, I'm suggesting for you to listen to all of these records, but if you had to pick one, make sure that it's Liquid Mike just because it's probably the most criminally underrated on this list and it deserves all the extra attention that it can get. It was only a matter of time until I would bring up Life Under the Gun by Military Gun. If you're tired about me talking about this record, then I'm going to respectfully ask you to cram it. These are just short and sweet pop rock tracks that disguise themselves behind a veil of hardcore and post-punk. It's not the hardest hitting LP on this list, but it is one of the most thorough, and I can almost guarantee you're gonna find a song on here that you'll like. Just go watch my newly released So You're Interested in On Them so you can finally stop being left in the dust and become a gentleman and a scholar, aka a Military Gun fan. The Military Gun relations on this list do not stop with Life Under the Gun because this next record that I'm gonna bring up here was actually produced by frontman Ian Shelton. Yes, that does indeed mean that we're gonna be talking about Post-American by MS Paint. I mean, how could this LP not land on this list? It is some of the most forward-thinking hardcore since Turnstile's Glow On, despite the fact these projects are so vastly different. Infusing synth-punk with hardcore happened so gradually that you would have never noticed. Post-American is a truly revolutionary album, and I will be the brave soul who stakes that claim. For the love of God, go listen to MS Paint. Another standout release is Moments of Clarity by Narrowhead. This has kind of snuck its way into my vinyl rotation, and I find myself enjoying it more and more with each listen. Kicking off not only with one of the best opening tracks of the year, but also one of my favorite tracks in general is quite a bold move, but they do back it up with a stellar list of songs to follow. This might be my favorite release from Narrowhead thus far. If you're into shoegaze and hardcore, then this is an album to seek out. This list would not be complete without mentioning the new Scalp project, Blacktar. Man oh man, this little son of a bitch is a ripper. I actually did a ton of research on this record for an upcoming unnamed podcast series that I am talking about here for the very first time. So yeah, world premiere soon or whatever. But I came to appreciate this 12-minute long LP so much more after really diving into it. Blacktar is angry, disgusting, and unabashedly brazen in its themes and topics. It's just a real fuck you of an album. If you at all like grindcore, then I can't recommend Blacktar enough. On a very different musical wavelength, we have Food for Worms by Shame. This is just one of those records that I've gravitated towards more and more as time passes by. I don't think it's some stellar artistic achievement or something like that, I just really enjoy it. The emotions poured out on each track are splendid as the band begs for you to feel how they feel. I must say, they do a damn good job as I find myself singing so many of these songs at the top of my lungs like I'm the one who wrote them. I don't know, I should probably be talking about the actual music itself on here, but fuck that. I'm enlisting you to go out and spin it for yourself. Personally, I never thought that we'd be talking about a country record on this channel, but then again, I don't think any of us expected Rat Saw God by Wednesday. In all seriousness, I'm still trying to process this album. It's just too good for its own good. Who'd have thunk that an alt country record would be hitting me this hard? This is one of those albums that I actually kind of feel bad when I hear that somebody hasn't heard it yet, or God forbid they don't like it. Come on now, what could have possibly happened in your life that led to a point where you can't enjoy this album? Seriously, do you feel nothing when Bold Believer or Chosen to Deserve comes on? Lord only knows the answer to that question, but I know that you're a pathetic loser if you don't dig Rats All God. You can put that shit on my gravestone. This new Yes, Yes, 1,000 Times Yes LP, Super Tiny Infinite Dans, is a weird one. Although it is a weird one that I quite enjoy. There's lots of interesting, creative, and energizing songs full of brilliant songwriting. It's certainly an adventure, even if it doesn't stick the landing every time, it's still consistent across the board. It's a punk-fueled emo maze full of relatable topics and excellent performances. Seriously, some of these songs are fucking amazing. If you're looking to spice up your emo playlist, then I suggest putting this on and plucking from its bountiful track list. Last but certainly not least, we have this new Zulu project, A New Tomorrow. I know I said MS Paint just revolutionized hardcore, but I think Zulu might have done the same. When this dropped and I got my vinyl copy in the mail, I sat down, dropped the needle, and became infatuated with the lyrics. My god, what an incredibly written piece of art. It's daring and eclectic, utilizing a vast variety of subgenres to create this one-of-a-kind album. That Drain and even Scalp record might encourage you to get up and punch a cop, but A New Tomorrow will have you punching that same cop over and over again for ethical reasons. There is immense purpose and power hidden deep within this album that you'll come to realize as soon as you put it on. A New Tomorrow does not fuck around, so when you do put this on for the first time, take the necessary precaution to make sure that nobody's in your vicinity, or else they will be taking a spin kick to the head. So yeah, that is going to do it for my 15 favorite albums of 2023 thus far. Links to all of the albums that I've mentioned here will be located in the video description box below. Like I said at the top of the video, you can go down in the comment section and let me know what you liked and or disliked on this list. Please, please, please feel free to give me suggestions on stuff to listen listen to, because a lot of stuff does slip through the cracks for me, and if you're able to catch it and let me know, I would really appreciate that. Be sure to subscribe for more videos just like this, along with other series that I've featured on this channel. Those series include So You're Interested In, a show where I go through an artist's discography and really give you the best starting off points in order to get into them, just like a good friend would. There are other shows like Stacks of Wax, where I go through my record collection A through Z and just flex kind of the cool stuff that I own. And there's also Where It's At, which is a bi-monthly show where I give you some of my favorite releases during that time frame. Anyway, that's gonna wrap everything up. Aside from my usual reminders for you to go out and support your local record store if you are able to, along with the local artists in your area. And, well, until I see you next time, happy listening.